Hey everyone, how's it going? So, I wanted to talk about how I got here. I didn't actually realize that I had really gotten anywhere, I guess, in the sense of a level in a way, because to me it's just natural, normal, and who I am. But what is normal, really? And that is a question I have asked myself since I was young. Because, in truth, do we really even care about normal when we're kids until we start being told that things about being normal or you're not normal or any of that kind of stuff? Anyways, I used to ponder about what was normal and I guess try to be normal, as we all try to do. There's this structure of who we think is a normal person as we are told by the things that we are taught, but at the same time none of them are the same normal, because we all learn different things and experience different things. So as I came to learn and try out and see perspectives of others and perspectives of what's possible and all different types of views and ways to see things and perceptions and all that kind of stuff, I came to realize that there really is no such thing as normal. There is just being, and there is generalities that you can do for sure, and there are also things that aren't. There are exceptions to the rules, and there really is no true rules. They're just guidelines. There's so many things in life that it's the way you decide it to be. It truly is. And some people don't like to hear that, because they're like, well, I'm here in life and like, how did I get here? Like, you think it. I mean, it's hard in every way, and everyone experiences the hardships in different levels and degrees on different scenarios and situations, and yet there are no different feelings. There are all the same feelings. There's no new feelings. We're all experiencing from the same type of feelings, but it's what we do in those times and how we handle those things that bring us to our experiences. And I'm sorry, but yes, it is our choices, but there is unconscious and conscious choices, and that is what makes the difference. That fine line, you'll notice in everything, there's that fine line, and I'll even explain about the fine line more soon. So anyways, it was in realizing, I mean, even today I'm still learning how different I am considered by others, and starting to finally, I suppose, allow and accept that I am different from others. But at the same time, every single person I know is different from others. We are all unique in our own way, and that is what I think is so beautiful, that while we are a part of some generalities, we are able to still retain our own uniqueness and our own selves. And I think that is what's so beautiful about life, that in everything that you can think of existing, there is still that individuality, which makes it its own. Even though it can be in a pile of the same thing, it still has something about it that is unique in its character to its own. Even if you were to bring it down to the most minuscule particle, atom, whatever, God particle, whatever you want to say, the just most mini thing, or even the grandest thing, because that is what life is all about. The constant, yeah, talk about that too. So anyways, in my experience of realizing all this, it allowed me to search out for all different types of knowledge, I suppose, because that's what it is. It was my experiences in my life and the way that I decided to view them that brought me to where I am. I decided to take my sufferings, my lessons, my traumas, my tragedies, my experiences, my happy time, every single thing encompassing in my life. And I decided to try out from different views, and from there, if it brought me to somewhere I enjoyed, I would continue, and if it didn't, then I would change that aspect. And that is how you start trusting yourself and talking to yourself. So that's something else I wanted to talk about too. When I was growing up, I remember being told that one should not talk back to themselves within, because then, or even without, because sorry, I just mean outside of yourself, because then that means that you're crazy, and that's what I heard. And it's that kind of fear-based things that you hear that lead us to make this structure of what we think is normal. But I don't see how we cannot answer back and talk to ourselves within, because I feel like all of us have well, maybe not all, because some decide not to, but most of us have a dialogue internally with either whatever you want to consider it, yourself, your personality, your soul, your higher guides, whatever you want to call it, your spirit. People might be scared of some demons, angels, like there's so many things that we can call this stuff. Even some is just like an energy that they feel, some is God, some is Jesus, it's really whatever label you wish to call it, because we don't really know what it is. Plus, it's not usually the same voice, because we all have our own, like, is it the sound of your own voice? Is it the sound of a man, a woman, a nothing, a neutral? Like, there's so many things in this, and it's each to our own individual. But I still don't see how people don't have a voice inside, because even the one that tells you to get up and go to the bathroom, the one that's like, I want to snooze more, like, to me, that's the voice. So anyways, building that trust, though, with your gut and intuition, that is something that I have been doing since I was young, because it was every time I went against that voice, I didn't experience good, happy feeling. Whereas every time I trusted that voice or spoke what that voice had urged me to speak, which is your true feelings inside that you're too scared to share with everyone because you're afraid of judgment and rejection and all those scary feelings, embarrassment, all of those things. But being wrong. But that's the point, is to get over those fears. I'm not gonna lie at all, because I'm actually a really honest person, but it is hard. It's about putting yourself out there. I'm gonna tell you how I built it was putting myself out there in the ways that when I was wrong, I would say when I was wrong. I would give credit to people. I would give credit to myself. I would thank others and thank myself. This is another thing, is do unto yourself as you would unto others. Do unto others as you would unto yourself, because that kind of energy, you have to understand too, everything is about energy. The constant, we attract what we are. I mean, it's all about frequency. I'm going to talk about this too, is they say Einstein's quote, if it's Einstein, who knows, but it's a great quote about you attract the frequency that you are, and it can be no other way. And it's very true, is because we are magnets, the law of attraction, the secret, all of that kind of stuff. It's all about energy base, and it's about, do you let things affect you in that way, the energy coming onto you, and that's like more of the life is happening to me, I'm being the victim, how can this be, life sucks, all of this stuff that you can't control. And then there's the creating, the taking, law of attraction, the manifesting, the being, and just, oh my God, it's such a different experience, and one that we all have potential to have based on our choices, because everything in life is about what we allow. And I know you might not understand that if you are not remembering or empowered yet to recognize our true power, because right now it's just something that you can't even understand or grasp. But that's what I'm here to help remind you of, that you have this, each and every one of us do. We're born with this as our birthright, and it's about us empowering ourselves, loving ourselves, and then choosing what we believe we deserve as ourselves, as a humanity, as everything, as a world. And I mean, it's amazing, just constantly. But again, not gonna lie, it is work. It is hard, but it is so worth it. It is so worth it. And if we all choose it, life is just gonna like be the best life ever. And that's what we're doing here. So yay, it's nice to know that everything is on our side if we decide it to be. So anyways, we are our own worst enemies, because it is us allowing the fear factor to take over and stop us from making our choices that we truly wish to choose. And when you recognize that it's all an illusion, and in truth, if we just choose what we truly desire, and then everything becomes happier, everything's more vibrant, everything raises, that's the frequency, right? This is how it all goes. So certain things exist in certain frequencies, and that's just the way it is about everything, because everything is energy, just as, yeah. Anyways, so many things to talk about. So, life brought me to all of the lessons and experiences, situations, scenarios that I needed to get me to where I wish to go, where I wish to be in every moment, levels of, you know, where I would enjoy myself and rest and then step into the next lesson to keep raising, because it's up to you what you decide to do in life, for real. So it's individual to each of us. Everything you're going through is exactly uniquely what you're meant to go through to get you to where you wish to go, who you wish to be. All of those lessons are completely for you, uniquely made. You were part of this creation of what you needed to go through. Sometimes that's hard to swallow because the things that we go through really, really suck, and it's hard to take responsibility for being part of that, because you're just like, why I would not choose that. And as a human, yes, maybe you wouldn't, because now you've gone through it, it's horrific. But as a soul, now this takes believing in a soul, for real. But I mean, it's up to you what you want to believe about your soul too. I totally believe in the soul, because the soul, I feel, is what ignites us, is what gives us fire, passion, drive, love, happiness. It's what makes us experience. It's the soul. But you also shine, your soul shines as bright as you allow it to. So if you don't believe it, you don't have one, I mean, you're not gonna have one because you don't want to believe it. So, I mean, it's really up to you, because in that too is, do you really not believe it, or do you want to be proven to it so you do actually believe it underneath? I mean, it's all about being honest with our opinions, our true, honest opinions. And when you're honest, like brutally, deeply, completely honest, it's so much faster to get you to who you are and who you want to be and who you've always wanted to be and wish to be, and set free. Like, again, own worst enemy. We're the ones that keep us locked inside. We're the ones that dim ourselves because we allow others to have their opinions hold us in our cage, you know, that we put ourselves in, because yes, worst criticizers, we're our own worst critics, we're our own worst everything, for real. But then you have to know the opposite exists, which means that we can be the people that loves ourselves the most out of anybody. And when we are able to do that, oh my gosh, you are so full of love, and you're able to give out so much love, and you don't need someone to love you, and yet you are able to truly be and have someone else truly be, and then have true love, because now you truly are being and they're truly being, and now you're truly loving each other for who you are. And that's when, that's when you go to so many heights, you know, when we actually allow each other to be and to grow and to go through what we need to change, because everyone has to go through those. At the same time, you don't have to change. There's no need to change. But if you wish to change, then change. And, you know, allow others to change. Is because if you wish to change, then allow others to change. Because sometimes we need that period of transition, and sometimes we have to go through things again and again, and we can't expect that the same things and the way we go through things are the ways others go through things. It's not, because it's unique to our experiences, and yet sometimes we can get together because we have similar experiences, and it helps as a group. So if you wish to go seek help from others or go to group things, do them, because it's for you and it's what you need. But for others who like to do it by themselves, do that too, you know? It's just allowing for each individual's journey to get them to where they wish to go, allowing for that open space, allowing for that loving space for healing, because all of us are honestly here on earth transitioning, trying to figure out what's going on. But I personally feel like I figured out what's going on in my view, so that's what I'm here to share. I'm not saying it's your view at all, because it's not, because it's meant to be your view to get you to where you wish to go, who you wish to be, what you wish to see in the world, right? Because that's what it's all about. So another truth is, where we feel inside is what we see in the world. Meaning that when we're not in a good place, the world doesn't look very good. But when you are in a great place, the world is so beautiful. At the same time, I mean, sometimes when you're in that great place and you see the sadness in the world, it makes the world very sad again. And I mean, so many angry times. But again, it's what you choose to focus on, because depending what you choose to focus on is also what you bring into your life and see around you. And I'm not saying to ignore world's problems. I'm not saying to ignore your problems. I'm not saying ignore anything. I'm actually saying be open to everything, embrace everything, accept everything. And from there, where are you going to go? What choices are you going to make a difference? And that's the hard part. The choosing, I find, is the hard part, and the action. And yet for others, it's the thoughts. So again, unique to your own experiences, what is up to you. So for me, I've always been a great thinker, ponderer, contemplator. I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. I also enjoy conversing because it inspires a lot of thought and ideas. I don't always enjoy having repeated conversations. At the same time, I allowed for it because then I started doing it. I started allowing for myself to do it as others do it to me. And it helps to change who you are and allow even for more. You know, it's about what you allow to change in yourselves and what you also don't, because it's who you are, and then what you allow to become who you are and what you release as who you were. And it's about habits and creating new habits. And is it easy work? No. But what makes it easier is not being so stressful about it, about taking your time, not someone else's time. At the same time, if it helps you to get on board someone else's time to get you going, go for it. If it helps you to figure out what your own timing is by doing some and not liking other things and then recognizing what you do like, do it. It's about being completely okay. And I guess in some ways diving in and trusting, because some people like to have a constant structure to follow, because I believe, well, one, I mean, that obviously comes in my eyes from past lives, as well as though who you are, as well as though how you're trained and conditioned in this life, and I mean, all those ties, right? And then also you can release those if you wish, or you can keep them if you wish. Everything is what we think. If we think that we have to have it a certain way, then we do. If we think we can get over it, we can. What was it Henry Ford's thing? If you think you're right, you are. I don't know. It's a great quote, but basically saying whatever you think it is, because it's true. It's so true. And when you start keeping tabs of things, so this is one thing is, I mean, it's different for everyone, because if you ask for things, wish for things, pray for things, whatever it is that you do in your mind, if you do, and you ask for it, and then it comes to you, do you ever keep track of what it is you truly receive? Now, here's the thing. A lot of people think that they didn't get what they asked for. But in truth, I believe that everyone gets what they asked for. It's just not how you expected it to come. But it comes exactly as you need it to get you to where you wish to go. Because some things we think that we need a certain way, but in truth, the universe and your soul, your true self knows what it is you actually need. Because the way that we ask for it doesn't bring about any growth. Usually, okay, especially when we're unconscious and we're just wanting, and and wondering why we're not getting, and just constantly, more, not appreciating all that kind of stuff. Because right there, it shows you all the lessons. You're not appreciating, you're not seeing, life gives back what you give in, meaning that yes, it is work. And when you put that energy in, oh my goodness, it gives you times 10 or more or less, depending how much you put in. But I feel like we can't lie to ourselves, meaning that when you put in a certain amount of work, in truth, yourself knows how much work you have put in, how much effort you decide that is to yourself. And when you decide how much worth it is what comes back to you in the universe. So sometimes that takes us also realizing that we actually do put a ton of work in that we don't consider work, and sometimes we don't put enough in that we consider work. So it's recognizing those things in ourselves as well, and not comparing yourselves to others, is because some things you might do better than others and some things others might do better than you. And it's about recognizing where those things are and being okay with it, because that's what, again, makes us unique in our own formulas of who make us what we are, and also unique in why people want to use you for your certain skills or natural talents or things you built up or not. It's just, I mean, it's so cool, the formulas of life. When you watch The Matrix, the movie, you can't talk about life and not bring in The Matrix, because honestly, the movie was made knowing about all this kind of stuff. But, I mean, think about how, if you were to look at the universe, or even what you see on every day in numbers, the 0 1s in binary code, or even just numbers, if you want to see the prime numbers, if you want to see the golden rule number, any numbers you want to see, the patterns, the constant everywhere, and then when you work into those formulas that work into what they become, me, you, the cushion, the plant, when you start to see the codings that make them what they are, and how huge this universe really is, and how beautiful and calculated, intelligent, infinitely, the knowledge, the constant learning and growth, the pulsing, the life, the thriving, and how we can also go into dark moments and not be that bright, and how we then can again serve. You know, there's just so many pumps. I mean, things. Oh, I can't wait to tie in so many things for you, because everything is so integral, just like so tied in together. And then those moments of appreciation, the humbleness of, wow, this creation, this entire creation of everything, to be in this moment here with you right now. I mean, then you start to see how beautiful it is that we have this possibility of journey, to be here talking about this, to be understanding, to be able to like talk here, like take in like all of this energy transfer happening here. Like, how beautiful is that? It's just, Whew. So anyways, back on track. You know what's interesting too is, while I have learned to try to communicate better, I still know that I am hard for a lot to understand. And yet so many have raised now where you're able to understand me better, and some still don't fully understand, but they try to take it in because it's about that vibe. They're taking in that vibe. And it's such a good vibe. I feel it more in my heart now too. I just went through my own healing process even more so that I could be here with you guys, you know, on a better frequency. I feel it from my heart now, and it's really amazing. And I'm sure you can feel it too. So anyways, life is all about the choices and how you react to the situations that come about, how you decide to see them, how you decide to forgive or feel guilty or hold on, how you decide to ignore or not confront. I mean, there's so many people that don't like confrontation, and yet you don't have to view it as a negative thing. And confrontation doesn't have to be confrontation. Confrontation can be addressing your feelings and just going and trying to talk. And this is where I feel it's about the responsibility of both, because as someone wanting the communication, it's a two-way street. We ourselves need to try to think of the best way to come across for the other person we're wishing to talk to in a way where they can take it in and try to understand rather than be defensive. And this is another thing, is most people are defensive right away. We are in a society at the moment where the first initial number one is defense. And that's something we ourselves individually need to learn to break down and not be. And that's in all choosing, meaning that it's breaking down into the minuscule and realizing in every moment, and I mean every moment, and I've talked about this before in one of my videos, the moment of now, of how every single millisecond is a moment, because a single piece of dust falling or any particle changes the exact moment anyways, and each moment we're moving, it's already changed and added a new layer or something, you know, it's just constantly changing. And so when we recognize that every millisecond, the smallest amount of time, allows for new choices, new creations, new whatever, wherever we wish to go, when we recognize that, then we start seeing the freedom of our choices, that in any freaking moment of time, you can make a choice of action or thought, or action to thought, or thought to action, that is going to change your experience in any moment. And that is so freeing. That is also the scary part, is because when you don't really think things through and death can be a consequence, then that is something that happens like that as well. Snap of a finger. But at the same time, death is something that we manifest. So recognize that as well. And we'll talk about that as that comes, as well as contracts. I mean, but at the same time, it's really the frequency you're vibrating at. Because if you're at a frequency that is not, I guess, part of the lesson, or it's basically, we'll talk about that as it comes, is because we also choose our life paths with where we're going. The choices that we make amount to the life path we're going, and sometimes some choices amount to that outcome, but it doesn't mean it wasn't the one that was meant to be. You know, it was meant to be for a reason. So, and that's the kind of stuff that we don't fully know yet, but at the same time, you can, if you're open to it. You know, there's tons of people that know. And ones that allow it and ones that change it, because honestly, again, any moment of time, change. So anyways, I took every single moment that I didn't like the way that it felt in an experience as a lesson to, if I were to experience that experience again, I would change it so that I don't feel the same way I did. And then again, another time I experience it, if I do, then I change it again. And you find that as you do these things, the layers that creates and brings you, because I do this because even if it's lower, it still doesn't matter. That's why I usually do it as a circle, because it's the constant layers of ripple. That's what we are, this little, you know, even if you want to just look at the heartbeat, that with the human, and then, you know, the layers that you put on that make you who you are, just the decision on top of this, it's constant building. And so, and I mean, even age, if you just want to layer it in age, you know, it's just any way it is layered. It just is layered. And so with those choices, each little choice that you make in those experiences changes how you are, how you react, and then what you draw to you, meaning that I looked at them as lessons is because when I first experienced it and there's something I don't like, how it went, how it felt, something about it, I recognize that and I try to get to the core of what was it? What was the particular thing I didn't like? And from there, it's either my attitude, their attitude, how the whole thing happened, or what. I would decide then, what is it that would make me okay with the outcome, okay with how it continues? You know, where is it that I want to experience in the future? How is it that I see this? Where can it go? Can it go anywhere? Am I overreacting? Am I just being sensitive? Is it not this way? Could it be seen a different way? Could they have taken it wrong? Did I take it wrong? Is, you know, it's just constant. And from there, it's not even if, because normally you do. For me, I always recognize it now. But just recognize that it doesn't always have to be in that moment when you're asking, is because sometimes we, again, are blocked, or there's a block because it's divinely timed, and you're not meant to know yet, and some other thing will inspire the answer to you, or it'll come when it's meant to. That's another thing that you need to recognize is we have our own pace. Each of us have our own pace of how we are experiencing life, and some you have to recognize that it is for a reason of your own protection. Is because sometimes it's too much for us, and the magic of the universe, the beautiful infinite intelligence of love, wishes for you to get through things at a pace that you can handle, because everything thrown in us at life is truly meant for us, because we are able to handle it. What you go through is meant for you because you and whatever you believe was meant for you, because you could handle it and you could get through this. Same as what I went through to get me to where I wish to go is what I could handle to get me to where I wish to go. And if someone else experienced it, they might not be able to handle it, or they could even handle it better. It's just, we're the ones that uniquely choose our paths, and that's something you have to begin to fall in love with as well, is because recognizing that this was something made of love for your higher learning growing, as well as the all's higher learning and growing. It makes it really special that you recognize that you were part of the creation to bring you to your ultimate being. And if you don't even get to your ultimate being, it's fine. It's because we created these levels of where we wish to go. If you only got to a certain ones, you're still happy. It's because it got you further than what you were before. And even if it feels like a step backwards, it still got you further. It's because that step backwards was necessary. And I mean this in so many layers. That step backwards was necessary to propel you, to get you to where you wish to go. Sometimes the further step backwards takes you way further than you would have gone if you continued just walking forward in steps. So you have to recognize that each path and each moment and each lesson is unique, because it gets you to where you need to go, and it propels you in the exact way that you need, and the ones affected by around you, or the ones that affect you, need. It's all meant for that. Two to tango, always. And for me, it's not always just about two to tango. It's about the whole ensemble of, opera, cast, the symphony, all of that. Everything needed to create everything that was needed for you to experience, to get you to where you wish to go, which is just growth of your being. It's about happiness. It's about us feeling fulfilled. We have this innateness in us that we don't understand why we need to be fulfilled. And I'm going to be honest, to me, I believe it's your soul being, because we came here with a purpose. That's why we all wonder what our purpose is, but we forgot that it's just truly allowing ourselves to express who we are as ourselves here in any way that is for each individual person. But the thing is, when we come here in these structures of our societies that we're born into, sometimes that restricts us, and then that's how we forget what we're meant to do. We forget who we are. We forget so many things. And then all we do is contribute to this society that keeps working and grinding. But all we're doing is driving ourselves into sadness and death and fear and into the ground and killing each other and blood and suffering and tears. While there are some that remain happy, and yet so many suffer. And I don't wish for that. And none of us do. I know we don't. I know we all grow up wishing for the best for all, and yet we still all, as adults, get sucked into this world of helping the machine of that grayness that we're creating. I mean, the colors, I'll be honest, are not as vibrant as they used to be when I was growing up, and yet they still are able to be vibrant. But that depends on us. Is because why they're not vibrant is because we are not as vibrant. When we choose to be vibrant, everything around us is going to be vibrant. Like, that's just the way it is. That's the way things work. And it's so cool. Okay, a little bit more about what got me here. Through childhood, I've lived an amazing life. I have been very lucky and fortunate. At the same time, I know why I live this life is so that I can be here in front of you. Because if I had gone through a different, like, this is the thing you have to understand too, is because I look at all things as life always. So I look at all my past lives, and I look at this life as well, and what I'm doing here. So I'm going for levels and depths of time and universe, and I'm even seeing what I'm doing here is going for infinite time in front of the future, because that's what everything is about. And so it's that constant, the moment of now and the constant past future, and the moment of now and the constant past future. It's just always occurring, always happening. And so I know that this life is a very lucky life, and yet I know there are people that are way more fortunate than me. I also know there are people that are way less fortunate than me, and I know that it depends from what perspective you stand as how you view where I'm at. And at the same time, I appreciate my life and what I went through and how lucky and fortunate I am. At the same time, some people might not think it's lucky and fortunate. At the same time, people are like, oh, yes, it's lucky and fortunate because you can. But exactly, so I can do this. Because had I not had a life like this, who knows if I would be able to be here in front of you all right now trying to help raise all our frequencies. At the same time, I know it was meant to be. Is because for me, I am living what I have always wanted now. Since I was born, since before I was born, since I came into the womb, since I lived every single moment consciously and becoming more and more conscious and more conscious and more conscious. And as you become more conscious, you look at things and think that's not as conscious at the same time, or even unconscious, and then realize it was in some ways conscious. Like, there's just so many layers to all these things, and it's up to you how far you want to go. But what makes me recognize that all this is real is that I knew so many things within myself, so many things that I learned and was guided and from my trust, learned in practical, physical world and the matter world, that when then my life changed in 2013, because after 2012, that residual energy, of the change of the world, of the whole universe, of everything really, of all the energies. And I started researching for 5 years plus now, and constant still, but I mean very vigorously, where it was like as if I was in school for 15 plus hours a day with barely any sleep, because just constantly entranced and more, and like just digging further into histories and just everything in all aspects. Mostly, I guess, history, historical sciences, philosophy, archaeology, ancient architecture, just lots of things to do with past. At the same time, science and medical field and nutrition and food and water and biomechanics and energy and chemicals, compound, like just, oh my God, I guess, yeah, sacred geometry, there's so many, constant, everything. When I researched into that stuff and recognized how much of the things that I know, and I recognize how deep I go, and as I speak and get to know more and more people, still how deep I go, and then seeing the depth of ancient past, of philosophers, of ancient civilizations, of knowings, of things that we don't understand and yet are told we were at the pinnacle of knowledge, and then recognizing that no, life goes in waves and there's many pinnacles, and we might even be at a place where we're starting to raise actually, more so than thinking that the civilizations of past were beneath us. They actually are mind-blowingly enlightened, and we'll talk more about that soon. But basically, when I recognize these things and learn from teachers of past, and that's another thing is recognizing too, always teacher student. Everything is always teacher student, student teacher. As a teacher, you still are a student, and as a student, you are a teacher. It's just the way it is, and it's such a beautiful thing. And it's when recognizing this constant cycle and pulse, the forward motion, you know, the spiral vortex, or whatever you want to call it. It's all, there's so many patterns in life that are so similar because it's experience, right? And the different levels, because you can be the single experience, the double, the dual, bi experience. You can be the tri, then the freaking quad, and the five, the star. There's so many things. Just constant, right? Chakras, oh my gosh, there's so many frequencies. It's sound frequencies, color frequencies, light frequencies. Just think of frequencies. That is all the time, all around, all the time. This is energy, this space that you see, if you feel things, you feel energy. Oh, okay, anyways. We'll be talking about that more too. So anyways, when I recognize how much has been talked about throughout histories always, and how civilizations have it's the same pattern. They say history repeats itself because we allow it to repeat itself, and it only repeats itself if we continue to make the same choices of allowing it to repeat itself. The moment you decide to change that, it will not. And to be honest, I believe that time is now. So anyways, when we start to recognize these things, and as we start to love ourselves and listen to that voice within, all of that comes together into this place of how much we recognize how powerful each individual person truly is. Our true potential of power, of creation, of manifestation, of individually, collectively, as a whole. Imagine our power as a whole. We are so freaking powerful. And that's also why we don't know a lot of these things, is because our power, if not used right, can be destructive. But at the moment it is being destructive is because we're unconscious of our choices, and we're really going into a direction that is not helpful because we're all vibrating low. But as we raise our vibrancies, and as we raise our frequencies, the world is going to be such a different experience. And so that's why I'm here. Is because my true belief is, if we heal ourselves, if we each take the responsibility of healing ourselves, the whole world is going to change. It's because you are changing, you're making different choices, and you are starting to now affect the world in a different way. And that can only bring about change, is because once formulas, if you see everything in a formula, you cannot have the same result if something changed. It's just not possible. And so, voila, here we are. So I will be talking more into that stuff in depth. I didn't recognize or realize that this is how I would be saying, as I usually go with the flow. But I guess they wanted it general and vague too, is because it's not about just our experiences. I'm going to share those with you as well, but it's about recognizing that we all go through our own experiences that bring us to the perceptions, perspectives, beliefs, experiences, situations, scenarios, living, lessons, everything of who we are. And we each have our individual ways. So how is it that you would wish to experience your experience? Would you like to experience it in a way where you feel restricted? Would you like to be a person who helps others experience restricted? Or would you enjoy to live your life freely? And so why do you not allow others to live their lives freely? And mostly that is answered by because you do not allow yourself to live freely, and so you restrict others. But when you allow for your own freedom, you will allow for others' freedom. And all of us will then allow for us all to go through what we need to get through. And in a way, it'll be a comfort knowing that we're all allowing for this space of healing and transition. And so when we would allow for more, meaning that if you accidentally lashed out at someone, yes, you would feel bad, but then you would apologize and they would tell you it's okay. And then they would allow then that if they went through that with you, that it's okay because you did it too. I don't know. For me, maybe it's just me as a person. I'm all about fairness and balance. But I mean, as we talk, it's going to make sense too, is because this world is about balance. Everything is about balance. And I mean, that fine line I was talking about, and I'll go further on this too, it is the yin yang symbol. It's that middle line of balance, that fine line. But all of this, every single thing comes from intention. And we are going to talk about the power of intention, is because it's all about your intent. Meaning that if you believe, and when I say believe, it means that your intention is to not understand. Your intention is that you can't do this. Your intention is you don't like it. Whatever it is, I can't do this. I can't that's intention. That means it's gonna be what happens. Whereas if your intention is that I wish to learn, I wish to understand, I wish to know, I wish to, and you start asking for things, that's when it will come to you. Is because the universe, the angels, the guides, the beauty and magic of everything cannot help you unless you ask for it. Is because that is what we're doing in this realm. It's the realm of free will and choice, which means that nothing can happen to you unless you allow for it or ask for it. Meaning that if you are experiencing negative experiences or spells or curses or whatever, it's because you allow it. It's because you believe spells and curses can affect you. It's because you believe spirits can harm you. It's because you believe fear can get you. It's because you believe where you're at. You believe in your suffering. You believe in your punishment. You believe you deserve this. You believe where you're at is where you're at. And you believe it has to be there. But I'm going to tell you right now, nothing has to be. Nothing. It only is that way when you decide it's that way. And that is so true for so many things. I'm sorry it doesn't necessarily bring back someone physically dead. I'm not going to say that it's that magic. Can it get there? Obviously it can. But mostly it's more about, you will start to recognize that life is different. And yeah, energy cannot be created nor destroyed. And when you recognize that, it's all about, it's how you decide to feel. Some people feel, some people see, some people hear, some people, I don't know. It's all individual to you, right? And for me, you definitely can feel love if you decide to. You can feel anything you decide to. You can feel fear if you decide to. Everything is about experience, right? And so what I say is choose the experience that best suits you, meaning that in that moment, if you wish to experience that darkness, do. If you wish to experience positiveness, change your thoughts and experience positiveness. If you wish to experience neutral, be neutral. If you wish to experience relaxed, be relaxed. If you wish to experience stress, be stressed. But recognize that you choose what you experience, meaning that when you're all caught up here and going anxiety, that's a choice too, because you're telling yourself it makes you anxious. But if you decide to just take in those breaths, take in that moment, that's you choosing there too to change your experience. If you decide to have that moment of tears, that is choosing for your experience, because in the next moment you know that that's going to be gone. If you choose to hold up and pent up everything, that's your choice too, is because you know in some time that's going to come out and blow out at someone or something or even yourself. It's just recognizing every single moment of choices, the eating, the sleeping, the going to the toilet, the sipping, like everything affects everything. Everything changes everything. And even deciding if it doesn't, that's a choice too. Everything is how we decide it. Good luck. And be easy on yourself. That's something I choose to do. I'm easy on myself and I'm easy on others. And I think that's why a lot of people enjoy being around me too, is because when you come into my energy, there is an energy of non-judgment, and there's an energy of being comfortable to just be who you are. And it's a nice space. It allows you to breathe comfortably. And in that same space, it makes you wish to be better. Because you know inside that you are not fulfilled with just being how you are. If you are, then continue being who you are. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're happy, continue. But most people aren't. Most people are just comfortable. Most people are very comfortable. And that's not a bad thing either. But again, are you happy? And how are you affecting others? Meaning that, is your happy making others happy? Or is your happy that you think you're happy making others unhappy, and so you're just in denial about your happiness? So many layers, right? So many layers. Love you all.